It's time for your daily crypto update with Framework Fortune Crypto. I'm your host, Ben, and let's take a look at some cryptos. So, Bitcoin going a little lower than I would have liked to see, dropping back down to, this 32.5 area, but still trying to hold this 33,000 area. If that continues to hold, we'll be fine, and we'll see a nice push back up here soon. It is kind of right below this trend line. My trend line could possibly be a little bit off. I could kind of put it right there. But basically still just kind of testing that trend line, that uptrend. If we see some buying volume, volume still very light. But if we can see some buying volume come in, we could see it push back up to that 35 area again and test that. But like I've been saying, we're just in this consolidation. Ethereum did have a little bit lower of a drop than I would like. Ran into a lot of resistance there in that 2200 area and being pushed back down to 2000. But once again, 2000 seems to be holding. We want to see that continue to hold. If it cracks 2000, then we're probably going to have a dip again. Now, the one good thing that we've got going on, besides the overall chart pattern on the daily and the weekly, the 200-day moving average is actually getting a lot closer to the other EMAs now. You can see it through here. It was really spaced apart there, and now the 200, and we actually almost crossed the 200, but it's still not that far away. So as long as buying comes back in, we still should see some bullish activity. Now, the one thing I want to talk about real quick, before we look at any more tokens, the stock market has still been going up. So that correlation between the cryptos and the stock market seems to have been broken. If we pull up a chart for the S&P 500, the SPY, if you're only in the crypto world, this just basically is an ETF that shows the weight of multiple stocks, the big stocks. So it gives an idea overall of what the stock market is doing, but it has continued to climb over the past couple of weeks while cryptos have been downtrending. That is a good thing in my opinion. Even though cryptos are down and the stock market is up, cryptos do not need to be following the stock market. There's no reason that they should follow the stock market. They're totally two different things. I mean, they're both assets, but the way they're set up, the type of assets they are, they're not the same. They should not be reacting the same to each other. And that's something I've been saying for a while now. And this is the first time we've really seen a true separation between the stock market and, say, like Bitcoin. So that should continue. I think it's probably more institutions and people realizing that they really aren't correlated like that. So they shouldn't really have an effect on each other's price. And the end game to this psychology, people need to understand that. Because if the stock market crashes and your country's currency is crashing like we're having with the US dollar, it's been on a downtrend for a very long time, then you need something else to go to. And that should be cryptocurrencies, in my opinion. Gold and silver, of course, too, but there's a correlation between gold and silver and cryptos that I don't think a lot of people's thought about, that I've talked about quite a bit. So this is a move to me for the future of cryptos. We don't want to see the stock market and cryptos follow each other anymore. They need to be separated, and that mentality, I think, is starting to happen. You're starting to see that because right now at this point, if the stock market crashes, money is going to be pulled out of it. And where is it going to go? A lot of times it goes to gold and silver, but they still drop with the stock market as well. They just don't drop quite as hard, and they rebound a lot faster. Unless you are shorting the market or playing an inverse ETF, there's not really any other places to put your money that's kind of secure. So crypto should be that they should answer that question. So hopefully this continues. I don't like to do hopes and faith in the stock market, especially in day trading, but I'm talking more of the long-term future of cryptos and investing in general. But let me know your thoughts on that in the comments. If you have any questions about it or you have a different view than I do, I'd love to hear it. Just let me know. But let's talk about a few more coins. And Cardano did get rejected off of that 140 and is now back down to 130. So we had a lot of issues trying to get above 140. Definitely couldn't get above 150. So we've pulled back now to 130, but this could be a good support area as a buying opportunity. Multiple times in the past when it's dropped to 130, it has gotten some type of bounce. Down to $1, Cardano I think is definitely a buying opportunity. At the moment though, still kind of got to wait things out. A little bit of indecision going on, but more volume today than we've had the last couple of days on Cardano. Even though it's selling volume, there is some buying volume that's come in on some of these candles. Now, Algorand cracked out of this beautiful formation it was making. 200 basically came in there and just ruined the pattern. It just got slammed at the 200 and cracked down. It still is building higher lows, though. This low is still higher than this low and this low and this low. So the trend line may have been cracked. We can take that out of there. But my trend line is drawn by me, which can be human error. So as long as we have those higher lows, I think Algorand is still good to go. We'll probably see a bounce off of it maybe tonight or in the morning for a test of 90 cents if everything else continues to rebound some from this last drop. For some reason, if Bitcoin or Ethereum can't hold their support areas of 33,000 and 2,000, then we could see drops in all of the altcoins. And after seeing these pullbacks where a lot of them got rejected at resistance areas, we don't want to see that, because if they drop any lower, then we're going to be back into this range, which is a sketchy range, because below this, there's a lot more room to drop. It is always a possibility that cryptos could come back down to these very cheap prices. You know, it's a newer asset. It's only been around 10 years, Bitcoin specifically or so. No one has a crystal ball, so we don't know for sure if these are the lows or not. Cosmos Atom did have a pullback as well, but looking pretty good on the 4-hour chart still. Got the 200-day holding up as some support, that $13 area. And we're still in an upward momentum movement. So I like the way that this is looking. There very easily could be a pushback up to 15 or 16. I don't think we're that far off from this getting to 20 like I was talking about. Because even though some of the market has dropped, this really isn't that big of a pullback for Atom. We don't really have any top gainers today. The highest gain we've got is like OXT up 5%, so not really much there, but it is pretty bullish on the 4-hour above all the EMAs. So if you're looking for a swing or a day trade, you basically just want to look for this trend line right here to break. If that downtrend breaks, then you can see this up to 40 for a test. And then 40 probably be tough. It may get hung up around there like it did here. But if it does break 40, it's got room up to 45. So definitely some potential for some decent gains if it continues this upward momentum. And you can see buying volume's been pretty decent in OXT. I haven't covered Scale in a few days, so I figured we would cover it. It got all the way up to the 200, pulled back, and now you can see it's just still kind of on a downtrend. But we did hold that 20 cents back here, and it's continuing to hold above that 20 cents. Looks like it's trying to find some support right around this 22.5 area that has held multiple times. So if that holds, then Scale could easily start pushing back up for that 25 cent area. MLN I would put on watch again. Been making this nice climb up, having some big spikes, healthy pullbacks. Just had another pullback to the 85 area. This area held pretty good of support back through here, and it was resistance through here, and then it was support back through here. So I'm expecting this area of MLN to hold up, and the trend line is just at 92. This thing could easily get back to 92. If it can break that trend line, then we could easily see it back over 100. So I'd keep it on watch for sure over the next couple of days for a possible rip. And finally, fourth, this one I was swinging. I'm still holding it, but I'm down a little bit at the moment because this trend line did crack, but the 200 is trying to hold up. we're testing that $18 area of support right now. If that cannot hold, then I'm getting out of this because they could dump back down easily to this 13 area. But you can see been a lot of selling pressure, and finally it's kind of starting to slow down. So just need to see bounce off of this 200-day moving average up to that 20 again for another test. But that's all the coins I'm going to cover today. So if there's any coins that I'm not currently covering on a weekly basis, leave it in the comments below and let me know your thoughts on the coins that I am covering. Appreciate everybody joining me as always. Stay safe out there. Until next time.